central parts of the UK, leaving behind a lot of cloud cover. Temperatures overnight dipping generally low single figures or a few degrees below freezing. So still some icy patches, particularly in the east and the north first thing Thursday. And extensive cloud during the morning, some patchy rain and sleet here and there, some further snow coming into Orkney, northeastern parts of Aberdeenshire. But for many, actually, it's a dry start, albeit a grey one with a lot of cloud cover, something a little brighter coming to Northern Ireland, West Wales, into the southwest initially. However, we're already seeing the effects of the next system across Cornwall, western parts of Devon. And this is a developing area of low pressure, named Storm Goretti by the French because of the risk of disruption over northern France from wind. It's likely also to cause impacts across southern parts and central parts of the UK. At first, it'll be rain and wind into the southwest and for parts of Wales that will be an issue, with the strongest winds expected across Cornwall. Amber warning because of the risk of 80 to 90 mile-per-hour wind gusts. But as it moves across the country Thursday night and into Friday, it will leave behind some deep snow across parts of Wales, particularly mid-Wales, the Midlands up towards the Peak District. Then it clears, but it's going to be cold, wet and windy in the east through the day on Friday. Brighter skies on Saturday, plenty of sunshine. Another low turns up on Sunday.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date.
£85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate.
An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media The majority of this country, whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
that man is not allowed in my pub. Get out of my pub. Go on. Calm yourself down. Get out of my pub.
Labour's going to destroy the pubs, but don't worry, there's big plans for those pubs.
Yo, where are you going, bro?
You're going into the mashty, my brother.
This is the Withy Trees pub, mate.
Nah, listen, my brother. It used to be the Withy Trees pub, not anymore, my friend. This is Noorani Masjid.
Also, this happened today. The US seized a ship kind of nearly off the coast of Scotland with British help. We're going to be debating all of that and...
circumstances. You've got a very hot community reception. You've got Maccabi Tel Aviv and the Dutch police saying we feel they actively targeted community members. Those two things together posed a sufficient risk.
Why have all of the police chiefs at West Midlands Police still got a job? Also... The man responsible for around half of the small boats' crossings in the Channel has been jailed, but can you guess for how long? And find out why I'm showing you a picture of me in a bikini. Yep. On my panel tonight, we have got the senior political correspondent at the Daily Express, Christian Calgie. We've got pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. And this guy is making an astonishing comeback.
What do you say to your victims, Hugh Edwards?
And can you tell me what's going on here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. We need to fight for the great British boozer. Next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom just after 9 o'clock. The top story tonight. The UK has confirmed it backed a US operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in the North Atlantic, targeting what ministers call Russia's covert shadow fleet. In an update in the Commons, Defence Secretary John Healey told MPs that the vessel was falsely flagged, linked to Iran and Russia, and used to bankroll Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. RAF aircraft and Royal Navy assets were deployed to support the operation, though Mr Healey stressed that no UK personnel boarded the ship, now under US control. He also said the UK will not stand by, warning that illegal maritime activity will be challenged and that he says Putin will not stop at Ukraine. Sir Keir Starmer says MPs will be given a vote on whether British troops are deployed to Ukraine. That's if a peace deal with Russia is agreed. The Prime Minister says the move would follow recent practice after the UK, France and Ukraine signed a declaration of intent to deploy forces. But the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch says questions remain over the scale and risks of a deployment.
No Prime Minister, Labour or Conservative, has failed to make a statement to the House in person after committing to the deployment of British troops. His comments about making a statement in due course, quite frankly, are not good enough. It shows a fundamental lack of respect for all of us here.
Sir Keir Starmer, though, insists Britain must be ready to play its part and told MPs any deployment would focus on deterrence, protecting key military hubs and preventing further Russian aggression.
If there were to be deployment, there would have to be a legal instrument. Mr Speaker, deployment would only be after a ceasefire to support Ukraine's capabilities, to conduct deterrent operations and to construct and protect military hubs. Mr Speaker, there will be a statement to the House at the earliest opportunity. If there were a decision to deploy under the agreement that was signed yesterday, then I would put that matter to this House for a debate beforehand and for a vote on that deployment. That is consistent with recent practice, and I'll adhere to that.
Donald Trump has doubled down on his claim that the United States needs Greenland, refusing to rule out the use of military force to take control of the territory. The US president says annexing the self-governing island is a matter of national security, insisting it's very serious about the plan. European leaders, though, and Greenland's Prime Minister have pushed back sharply, with former UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace warning that any attack would signal the demise of a large part of NATO. Mr Trump has long voiced his ambition to bring Greenland under US control, reigniting tensions among Western allies. Well, just staying with news, in fact, from the United States, Donald Trump has, in the last few minutes, posted a response to a developing story in the United States, in Minneapolis, where a shooting has taken place. The president saying he has seen that video footage and it is, in his words, absolutely horrible. We understand a woman has been shot dead by US immigration officers in Minneapolis during a major federal enforcement operation, with the Department of Homeland Security saying that that woman was a violent rioter who herself tried to run over an officer, claiming that the shooting was in self-defense. Protesters had gathered at the scene as the mayor is urging now urgent calm, telling residents to show up peacefully and not give what they want. So that latest line just coming into us from Donald Trump regarding that shooting at a major federal enforcement operation in Minneapolis. And Nigel Farage has unveiled Leila Cunningham as Reform UK's candidate to challenge Sadiq Khan in the next London mayoral election. The Reform UK leader made the announcement at a London press conference today, standing beneath banners declaring London needs reform. Mr Farage called May's local and devolved elections the most single and significant set of electoral tests before the next national vote. He also confirmed Reform UK will reveal its new Scottish leader at a press conference in Edinburgh next week. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with the news at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Good evening. Does Labour hate Britain and fun? They came for farmers. They're coming for veterans. They're giving away British territory. And now they're trying to close our pubs. So they've raised the minimum wage, hiked business rates, hiked national insurance for employers. I mean, it's got so bad that even celebrity chef Tom Kerridge, who was one of 121 business people who signed a letter endorsing the Labour Party just before the last election, even he has had enough.
4 spaces, 4 pubs, and all of them are going up at, pretty much over 100%.
Over 100, even
over
with
100%.
Even with the relief that the Treasury says it's providing.
Yes, it's not relief that's taken away. It's actually, we're just softening the blow. It's still killing you off in 2-3 years' time. The moment the business rates have gone, that's it. What's the point in being open?
Well, I mean, that is what happens if you vote for high-tax socialists, to be fair, Tom. But anyway, look at the amount of pub closures in the last year. That's the graph on your screen. Obviously, the bottom one, the larger one there, is from 2025. Remarkable, that, isn't it? Shocking. Anyway, Labour are introducing the banter ban. So if someone says something in a pub that a blue-haired barmaid studying fine art at Bath Spa University finds offensive, she can sue the landlord of that pub for allowing that kind of crack in her boozer. Anyway, now they are thinking of lowering the drink-drive limit. Now, they say it's all about road safety. Rubbish. Scotland lowered the drink-drive limit. I mean, do you know what happened? Road traffic collisions went up by 7% compared to England and Wales. Alcohol consumption remained exactly the same, but fewer people went to the pub. So, there you go. Injuries from drink-driving incidents are also in long-term decline, down from around 20,000 a year in 1980 to around 5,000 a year since 2020. Now, obviously, I'm not endorsing drink driving, but in my opinion, this isn't really about drink driving. It isn't really about road safety. This isn't really about saving lives. It's about adding another nail into the coffin and put pubs out of business. It's about tearing down the fabric of society and a deep-seated hatred of British culture and the British way of life. I mean, the Labour Party is full of people like this.
As Caribbean people, we are not going to forget our history. We don't just want to hear an apology, we want reparation.
It's full of people like that. I think the government doesn't like the idea of British men and women having a place to congregate and moan about what a bad job Labour's doing. Labour MPs are banned from pubs right across the country. Sir Keir Starmer sees videos like this from the darts over Christmas. They're not calling him a banker. I'll just leave that there. And he obviously can't bear the idea of that being replicated in every single pub in the land. I mean, you have to drive to most rural pubs, so people just won't do that now. Pubs will close, people will move to more urban areas. It's another death knell for the countryside. But Sir Keir Starmer doesn't care about that. I mean, if he had it his way, he'd probably just never leave Islington. If you're worried about your local pub and community hub shutting down, Labour probably think that you just lack vision. You're not progressive enough. Where you see a pub, other people see a potential mosque.
Yo, where are you going, bro?
You're going into the mashty, my brother.
This is the Withy Trees pub, mate.
Nah, listen, my brother. It used to be the Withy Trees pub, not anymore, my friend. This is Noorani Masjid.
But just like how every supervillain has an origin story, something that happened to them that made them the way they are, so did Sir Keir Starmer.
That man is not allowed in my pub. Get out of my pub. Go on. Get out of my pub.
Labour doesn't understand Britain, British people, British culture or the British way of life. And that is why they are on a mission to shut the great British boozer. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Senior political correspondent at the Daily Express, Christian Calgie, pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks, a journalist and broadcaster, Nina Mishkov. Adam, I welcome to you on this first. It'd be a bit silly not to be honest with you. So, do you think that Labour are on a mission to shut pubs?
They clearly hate us. As you said, they don't want people congregating in pubs and slagging off the party or possibly the worst government that we've ever had. It's one thing after another. Both budgets have cost me an extra 40,000 or so in added costs since they've come into power. You know, I'm doing OK. I've got a great pub. There are many that are not, and there are going to be record closures this year. But, I mean, the business rates in 2022, Labour put all over social media that they're going to scrap. There it is, look. They were going to scrap business rates and create a fairer system. But let me just tell you now, the average pub, business rates are going up by 76%. The average hotel, 115%. A supermarket, though, just 4%. Or a warehouse, like Amazon might use, only 16%. So we are disproportionately getting punished. So you have to look at it like we are being targeted. And now we find out that they're going to lower the drink drive limit. Again, I do not condone drinking and driving. I've been a publican 20 years. I've taken keys off of customers to stop them driving. I'm responsible. That's the reason I'm a licensee. But, you know, on a Friday between 3 and 5, I get your builders, your workmen that want to pop in, have one pint. That's not going to create any danger on the road. They want to have a pint before they go home and get nagged by the old woman or screaming kids, you know, in their house.
Not a cliche at all.
But look,
not a dinosaur cliche at all. My God, how unreconstructed are you?
Well, you can look down Sobri, but everyone watching this can relate to it, Nina, because we're working people.
Working people back in the 1950s. You don't talk about women like that and wives like that.
Well, it wasn't meant with any malice, was it?
Never mind malice, but it just slipped out.
The people watching will engage with me a lot more than they will engage with you, Nina.
Fair enough. That's the way they think. That's the way you think.
At the end of the day, we need help. And I'm part of a WhatsApp group now, and it's industrial action and protests that are coming to Westminster at the end of this month. We want 13% VAT, in line with much of Europe. They support their hospitality and their tourism industry. Right? It will keep prices lower. We're gonna try and hit them where it hurts, and that's at Westminster.
OK, interesting. Well, we'll come back to that. Yeah, Christine, do you think this is really about drink driving and road safety?
I don't doubt for a second that Labour has snapped in half with the lightest amount of pressure from the usual puritanical lobbyists, and that's the problem. Look, I know it's been one thing after another, and this is just yet another straw that has snapped an already broken camel's back. But I don't necessarily think that Labour hate pubs per se, but they are so unideological, and it takes a certain amount of ideology to stand up to Puritans that are paid so much money to say if we tweak this we'll reduce driving deaths by 5 a year, and they are clueless. And the reason that they can't stand up to them is because they don't have any vision or any views. The reason this upsets me so much is, as I say, I don't think that this in particular matters nearly as much as the business rates review or the changes to minimum wage or the workers' rights. Agreed. Or indeed the energy costs that Ed Miliband is doing nothing about. But once a pub closes, 90% of the time it's gone. And among all the crises, as someone who grew up in a rural area, I think back to what actually Clarkson said on his latest series of Clarkson's Farm about how much these community spaces matter when you've got loneliness epidemics, when you've got mental health crises. Pubs are so important. In fact, I thought much the same when Labour wanted to shut down the Boxing Day hunt. These are other events in rural communities where people get out the house, come together, socialise, have a nice time. You take all of it away, what are you left with?
Well, this is it. I mean, there's a pub I know relatively well where it's the only pub in the area, and there's some nice houses nearby. You've also got a couple of council estates nearby. A real mix of people. It's a bit of a sports club as well. But there's people there that have been going there for decades. There's also there's one bloke who's obviously kind of got the start of dementia who goes there, and he's actually kind of part of his routine, and people look after him the way he goes home. There's some people who are now adults who their parents used to go there. They've got special needs. They've always kind of they kind of gravitate towards the pub in the evening and all that kind of stuff. The idea of just shutting that there, and every single one of those people in that area would have nowhere else to go in the evenings or on a weekend anywhere near where they live. I just find that absolutely crushing, really. And I do wonder how you feel about this, Neil. Do you think it is just all about the drink driving, or do you think they just don't quite understand British culture, pub life, all of that?
I think it is about the drink driving, and I agree with everybody. I think it's a tragedy when pubs close. Our local pub, fortunately, isn't closing, but it's been sold to the Young's chain, so it won't be the same as it was before. The drink driving thing is an important issue. I personally would have a zero tolerance, zero alcohol, because what is the point of having one drink? Most people just want the second one, basically. So you have one drink, and I don't.
It's so, isn't it?
Listen, I'm quite. I have to confess. Back in the 80s, when I was a journalist in London, driving around London, there were no restrictions, etc., and times were very different. I crashed the car when I was drunk, and I lost my licence for a year. Now, I was very lucky in that and I knew at the time I was very lucky that I had not damaged myself or another person, and it was merely metalwork that was damaged. And I lost my licence for a year, and I learned a lesson, and I have never had a drop of alcohol and driven since. So there is a point. 300 people a year are killed on the roads at the moment, and we're talking about pubs closing, and they are tragedies. But we look back to 2017, the pubs are closing one a day. 18 a week were
Tories
closing.
didn't help us
27.
either.
Well, so you can't blame it all on the Labour government.
Because we do have some real world evidence on this, and that is Scotland. And the evidence shows that actually road traffic collisions went up by 7% compared to England and
But it could be drug driving, you don't know. Scotland has a terrible drug problem.
Well, OK, but
you don't know.
But then also the amount of alcohol consumed didn't go down. That was my other point here. They just started going to supermarkets buying it.
Well, exactly. And Scotland's a fantastic example of where the realities of real life clash with the, as I say, the sort of fun-hating activist lobby, because Scotland is the most puritanical country when it comes to minimum alcohol pricing, and the same with the roads. And alcoholism is so much worse. And it's part of that wider thing.
Yes, but
there's
that's
no point.
part
The
of
people
having a pint at lunch are not the people causing drink driving accidents. They're the people that are going too far and are actively breaking the law because they don't care. And then you get into the wider question of, well, how are we policing this? rural policing's already been decimated, and we're saying that someone who's had a couple of pints at lunch and then drives home 4 hours later is a bigger issue than shop theft, which already we can't police, or other issues.
Shop theft doesn't kill people.
I just think that there should be more of an incumbency on politicians when they introduce new regulations to say, how are we going to enforce it? And at the moment, there's no answer.
The thing is, in the countryside, as far as I understand it, people do take the risks. They do drink and drive, and you know, they may or may not be found out until they crash.
Well, one of the things I will say is I see this every single day. In fact, I have to experience this every night when I go home. There are cars full of lads smoking weed. Everywhere I go.
Or doing those balloons.
Or doing the balloons. As they're driving. You just see them all the time.
More dangerous.
All the time. And there's times when I'm driving and I'm stopped at traffic lights and I'm like, I can smell it. And the bloke next to me just got a massive spliff. And you're like, well, where are the police for this? They don't seem to do anything with that kind of stuff. But what we'll do is we'll come after the people who have 1 pint at lunch.
Look, I just want one message to this government. You know, do they understand what we actually earn from a pint? I worked out with my accountant, it was between 15 and 16p per pint that I make in profit. Out of all that, out of £5.50 or whatever beer that I'm charging, 15 to 16p is all I get out of that. And mostly it's tax. And that's just, you know, it's not the same in Germany. The beer tax is 10 times less than what we pay here. Something has to be done. You can't collect taxes from a closed pub, and that is the thing. It's going to cost them more money in the long term.
It's the fabric of British society.
But Keir Starmer said that he would look at it. He would look at it again. And Peter Cowell, the business secretary, who was earholed by Tom Kerridge, has been sympathetic and is trying to do something.
By the way, I have very little sympathy for Tom Kerridge. I think he's a very nice guy. On any TV show I've ever seen him on, I've always thought he comes across quite well. I've got no issue with that.
He will survive. He's a multi-millionaire.
I mean,
Most of us are not.
I imagine you don't sell fish and chips for 50 odd quid.
No.
So that's the other thing.
It's £15.50.
I'm sorry, but, you know, you tell people what the celebrities do. Stop doing it. You sign a petition, you sign a letter, you tell people, go out and vote Labour. I'm backing Labour. This is great. Well, I'm sorry, you've got to carry the can, mate, when it all goes Pete Tong. But anyway, right, talking to something that could never go wrong. Right, it's the Great British Giveaway. It's £85,000. It could all be yours. Here's how.
It's a brand new year and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village, or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, well, coming up, find out why I am making you suffer through pictures of me in an AI-generated bikini. But before that...
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, putting suckers in fear, making the tears rain down like a monsoon.
British spy planes and ships supported US military in its successful operation to seize an oil tanker somewhere near the coast of Scotland earlier today. That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
5 hosts, 5 opinions,
5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight.
On the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, it's getting very much now.
Yeah.
No.
Well, stay tuned to find out what that's all about. But before that, should we have supported the US in their seizure of a Russian-flagged oil tanker? It's time now for the head-to-head. Well, of course, the big breaking news that we've been following throughout the day is British spy planes and ships supported the US in its operation to seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in European waters. The Marinera was sailing off the UK coast late this morning when it was intercepted by the US Coast Guard and Special Forces after a 2-week pursuit. And obviously, if you're watching us on TV, you're seeing the footage of that. Now, the Kremlin responded immediately, labelling the seizure of the vessel a violation of maritime law, while Russian media claimed the US was edging the world closer to nuclear war. British Defence Secretary John Healey justified British involvement in the operation in the Commons this evening.
The UK supported this action to achieve 3 objectives. First, to enforce counter-Iran sanctions. Second, to tackle the global security threat posed by expanding shadowy maritime activity. And third, to reinforce British homeland defence and security in this era of rising threats.
So tonight I'm asking, should we have supported the US in their seizure of a Russian-flagged oil tanker? Going ahead on this now, our foreign affairs expert Tom Close-Pritchard and the former British Army Major General Tim Cross. Thank you very much, both of you. Great to have you on the show. Tom, I'll start with you. So they've used bases in Britain for this. Should we have let them?
Thanks, Patrick. Good to be on this evening. The short answer is yes. The long answer is that the reason why is because we're defending freedom. The shadowy business dealings of Russia and Iran are simply bankrolling Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine and the barrage of attacks against the Ukrainian people, and Iran's ability to fund terror and global disruption around the world. So the short answer is yes, we're absolutely right to support these US actions.
OK, former British Army Major General Tim Cross, were we right to help them out?
Well, I don't know what you call it head-to-head, because the sadness from your point of view is that I happen to agree with that. I think it was right, but there are caveats to this. I don't think we can see this in isolation. We have inevitably to see it within the context of President Trump's policy, make America great, what's going on in Venezuela, what's the threat to Greenland, and so on and so forth. So my concern is not so much this particular incident, which I don't have a problem with, if I'm honest, but my overall concern is where is this going in the round, and the dangers of disagreement within NATO, American support for NATO falling away. And I don't think there's any doubt that President Putin and Xi and others will be looking at this and actually be quite pleased to see all of the disruption that's going on as a result of some of these decisions.
Yeah, look, Tim, I'll stick with you on this. I've got in some of my comments here when he spoke to one of our producers earlier on. He said, we need to decide whether the US is still a friend and not a pariah. So, presumably, you are a bit on the fence about whether or not we were right to do this.
Well, no, in the context of that comment, we have got to work hard to make sure that the US remains a friend. We mustn't lose sight of the fact that well over half the world lives under the brutal dictatorships or, rough regimes. And we have got to be a key part of ensuring that America stays with us in terms of the rule of law and democracy and freedom, et cetera, et cetera. So, I've worked with the Americans a lot over the years on many deployments. I've got a lot of good friends in America. We have got to stay alongside America and be as strong friends as we can be. But that has to be, well, actually, one of the points I'm concerned about in all of this is we seem to have lost sight of the quiet diplomacy. We need to have diplomatic efforts to work alongside the Americans, talk so we're not making media headlines every 5 minutes and so on. So we have got to stay friends with the Americans. We can't afford for them to fall out with us or us to fall out with them and our other European partners. But it is proving to be difficult. There's no point in denying that.
Yeah, I do wonder, though, Tom, whether or not we need to move with the times a little bit here. Talk of this adhering to international law, the rules-based order, all of that, which, let's be honest with you, our own Prime Minister is steeped in, given the fact that he's, felt it personally and professionally acceptable to represent a procession of wrong-uns over the years, along with the Attorney General, of course. But have times changed? We're not kind of living like that anymore. I mean, Trump doesn't seem to care that much about it, does he, or if at all? Obviously, Putin doesn't. Xi Jinping doesn't. So, what are we a bit stuck in the past here when it comes to that, do you think?
Well, I must admit, I'm not an international lawyer. I'm a foreign affairs commentator. However, the important thing to bear in mind and I've stressed this over the past few days as I've been doing the media rounds, is that Venezuela, Russia, Iran have not exactly been abiding by international law. They're not exactly known for fair play or treating their own, or for that matter, any other people around the world, with fairness or with tolerance, or frankly, humanely. So the only mechanism here for enforcing international law is that of by force of other nation states. I believe that's what the United States has done in Venezuela over the past few days and is continuing to do against a regime which is now falling, which has threatened to invade its neighbour Guyana to the east and oppressed its own people, and is doing here in this exact case. And we are reducing Russia's ability to fund the invasion in Ukraine. So as I see it, these actions of the past couple of days have been a win-win.
All right, both of you, thank you very, very much. That was, of course, the foreign affairs expert Tom Close-Pritchard and former British Army Major General Tim Cross. Well, loads more coming your way. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Well, a Turkish national who supplied people smugglers with just thousands and thousands of small boats has been jailed. But for how many years? The government smashed one people smuggling operation, but the boats keep coming. Is the Prime Minister's migration master plan doomed to fail? But before that, find out why I am showing you these pictures. One of me obviously fully clothed, the other one, regrettably, in a bikini. What is all that about? I'll tell you all in a few minutes' time.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Whilst we've seen the cold weather affect the UK and much of Western Europe, it's turning less cold in Iberia now, whilst it's increasingly unsettled across southeastern parts of Europe, especially Greece and Turkey, where we'll see strong winds and heavy rain moving through during Thursday and Friday. Italy's on the cold side, temperatures a few degrees below average. Meanwhile, temperatures have now recovered for Spain and Portugal, back up to the double figures or the teens in places.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The cold air remains with us, but add into the mix a deepening area of low pressure. We're going to see all sorts of issues by Thursday night and into Friday morning. Now, one low is departing. A weather front is moving into western parts of the UK. This is containing mostly rain because it's a slice of milder Atlantic air. But as it bumps into the cold air, there could be a few flakes of snow across parts of western Scotland, inland and over hills predominantly. Elsewhere, the rain tends to fizzle away as it moves into central parts of the UK, leaving behind a lot of cloud cover, temperatures overnight dipping generally low single figures or a few degrees below freezing. So still some icy patches, particularly in the east and the north first thing Thursday. And extensive cloud during the morning, some patchy rain and sleet here and there, some further snow coming into Orkney, northeastern parts of Aberdeenshire. But for many, actually, it's a dry start, albeit a grey one with a lot of cloud cover, something a little brighter coming to Northern Ireland, West Wales, into the southwest initially. However, we're already seeing the effects of the next system across Cornwall, western parts of Devon. And this is a developing area of low pressure, named Storm Goretti by the French because of the risk of disruption over northern France from wind. It's likely also to cause impacts across southern parts and central parts of the UK. At first, it will be rain and wind into the southwest and for parts of Wales that will be an issue, with the strongest winds expected across Cornwall. Amber warning because of the risk of 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. But as it moves across the country Thursday night and into Friday, it will leave behind some deep snow across parts of Wales, particularly mid-Wales, the Midlands up towards the Peak District. Then it clears, but it's going to be cold, wet and windy in the east through the day on Friday. Brighter skies on Saturday, plenty of sunshine. Another low turns up on Sunday.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Yes, it's going to be much now.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, well, I'll tell you exactly what that clip's about, all those sheep running into somewhere in just a second. But first, Technology Secretary Liz Kendall has warned Elon Musk that he must urgently deal with his company X's artificial intelligence platform, Grok, to stop it from digitally undressing people without their consent. So since the new year, women have reported that other users are asking the AI to generate images of them in their underwear. Now, you may think that, well, some people might think it's funny, I certainly don't think it's funny, but images like this are having a very, very serious and appalling consequences. Just to show you how easy it is to do, earlier on, I asked Grok to make images of me in a bikini, and within seconds it had created these. I mean, I didn't have to do anything, so there you go, that's that. I just thought I'd inflict that on the nation, so there you go. Now, Ofcom have even warned that the tool is currently being used by paedophiles to generate sexualised images of children. So, should the government intervene to ban AI tools like this? Well, I'm joined now by journalist and broadcaster Khadija Khan. And Khadija, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you actually, I believe, have got, well, I was going to say an interesting story, obviously it's a devastating story about this. What's happened to you?
As you just said, that there have been several incidents reported in the media and as well as on social media where users are asking Grok to undress women digitally, putting them in bikinis without their consent and placing them in sexual situation. The similar thing happened to me when a zealot who apparently he is a Muslim fundamentalist, he asked Grok to put me in a bikini, and it was aimed to humiliate me because I have been very vocal about my criticism of Islam and religious misogyny. So it was his way to silence me by humiliating me. And he used my body to shame me. And that is what is going on, you know, behind this apparently innocuous trend that women are being, coerced into, oblivion, so that they should not be talking about some stuff. They should not be putting their photos out there on social media. And it is quite tragic because this online harassment is not a new thing. Some women, they face it on daily basis. However, the situation is peculiar and terrifying. This feels different because many women, including myself, have never encountered such an experience before. And what's happening on X is not a joke. Something that might have started as an innocuous trend, as some would like to believe, this is now aimed at bullying, intimidating, and harassing women. And this feeling of seeing oneself in such a context, especially without consent, leads to embarrassment and shame. For many women, this constitutes sexual harassment. And let's not forget, this trend is a part of a growing problem that experts refer to as imagery-based sexual abuse, which involves the use of deepfake and non-consensual intimate imagery to degrade and exploit individuals. While anyone can be victimized, 90% of the victims of image-based sexual abuse are women and girls.
It's also just an absolute gift for paedophiles, isn't it?
Exactly. And now I have personally received messages from women advising that we should be more careful about posting selfies and personal content online, especially underage girls and young girls. And this indicates that whatever agendas are behind, this troubling trend, they are having an effect. It encompasses a broader concern regarding the control and power being taken away from women, forcing them into oblivion. And of course, this is becoming a heaven for pedophiles who can just undress any woman, any girl without their consent anytime.
Yeah, I mean, in your case, I think especially, it can have very, very real-world consequences beyond, obviously, like you said, the fact that it is just clearly deeply unpleasant, aims to humiliate you and all of that. But, especially in some countries, like, dare I say it, Iran or some parts of the Muslim world especially, if somebody thought that one of their wives or daughters or something like that had genuinely posted a picture of them in a bikini, I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. They would just be killed for that.
So now we are talking about the societies where women's bodies have been used as a battlefield. They are not considered human beings. They are considered objects. And they carry the burden of honor of the family and of the religion and of the society, of the community. So as you said, if their photos are distributed on social media in such a context, then definitely there would be fatal consequences. And I feel humiliated because I was raised in a culture that is a misogynistic culture where we are made to believe, women are made to believe that their bodies are source of shame. So yes, I felt shame, I felt embarrassed, but yes, I kicked back, I just dusted off, and I just said that my body is no more my shame. But the women we are talking about living in such societies, they cannot say it. Their consequences are so extreme that one cannot imagine. This trend is not just a joke anymore. It carries, life-threatening consequences for many women around the world.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it is scary for people because look, not everyone, most people have got Instagram profiles or whatever it is, and you think you've got a back catalogue of pictures on Facebook or whatever from like the best part of the last 15 years potentially, or even longer, and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, do I need to delete every single one of them, because who knows what people could be doing behind the scenes. But Khadija, thank you very, very much. Really appreciate you coming on and especially being brave enough to talk about your experience as well. It's Khadija Khan there, who's a journalist and broadcaster. Now, we went to X, Elon Musk's platform, and we said we take action against illegal content on X, including child sexual abuse material, by removing it, permanently suspending accounts, and working with local government and law enforcement as necessary. Anyone using or promoting Grok to make illegal content will suffer the same consequences as if they upload illegal content. Right, OK, so there we go. Now, at 10 p.m.
In relation to security guarantees and the American role and our dialogue with the Americans, I can assure the House I spoke to President Trump twice over the Christmas period in relation to this specific issue.
We'll find out why President Trump is reportedly very, very annoyed with the Prime Minister. Part of that reason, by the way, is because he thinks he's a weak man. But before that... A Turkish national who supplied people smugglers with thousands and thousands of small boats. In fact, one report blames him for literally half of the small boat crossings in the Channel. Well, he's been sentenced. But how long do you think he's got? That's next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health, Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. So, a Turkish national has been jailed for 11 years for supplying thousands and thousands of small boats and engines used by people smugglers to transport illegal migrants into Britain. He's called Adam Savas, and he supplied engines and dinghies to people smugglers, shipped the boats from Turkey, storing them in Germany until they were transported to northern France. Now, he was the key supplier of boats and engines for the Kurdish people smuggling boss Hiwar Rahimpour, who headed up a major smuggling ring thought to be responsible for more than 10,000 migrants arriving by small boats in the UK. In fact, one report today actually blames him for half of the small boat crossings. But last year, more than 41,000 people crossed the Channel, a 13% rise on the year before. So I'm joined now by former Immigration Minister Kevin Foster. Kevin, thank you very, very much. Look, this guy's probably made millions of pounds, and he's getting 11 years. I don't know how long that means he'll actually serve for enforcing the invasion of Britain. I mean, it doesn't really seem just.
No, personally, I'd have rather seen him prosecuted, perhaps under our own law, for something like manslaughter, given there's clear evidence he may have been involved in the incident where 27 people died in the Channel whilst attempting to cross. There's the evidence presented in the trial. But I think what we have to remember here, Patrick, is he was actually prosecuted in Belgium, having been arrested in the Netherlands. So he wasn't prosecuted under British law, or he was prosecuted under Belgian law. Hence why, for example, the fine is €400,000 rather than £400,000. That said, you know, there's a welcome bit of work done by the National Crime Agency here in the UK to help identify this individual and work with law enforcement agencies across Europe to help bring this man to justice. The problem is, though, as people may know, this man was arrested in November 2024. Yes. So whilst, yes, this individual has now faced justice today, it's sadly all too clear that others have taken his place, given 41,000 people arrived last year.
Absolutely spot on, a 13% increase, and this is why people are so frustrated. I've been very critical of the National Crime Agency at times, and that's because I've had first-hand experience of what I would regard as their inaction over certain things like human trafficker profiles on social media, etc. They've obviously done very well here, and I don't want to knock them too much, but we are just so behind the times, aren't we? They caught this guy in November 2024. They've finally brought him to book in Belgium, where he'll get 11 years and a €400,000 fine. In the meantime, the problem's got worse.
Yeah, absolutely, Patrick. At the end of the day, law enforcement work can only go so far, and it's right that it's done. You know, quite clearly, people involved in this trade should face criminal sanctions and punishments. But ultimately, to deal with this, you can't just deal with it through law enforcement. You've got to look at how you break the business model of paying a smuggler and ending up in the UK with an immigration status. That's the fundamental part of this. And, you know, when you look at what we've seen, for example, in Australia and now in the United States, yes, they've enforced the law. They've looked to deal with gangs, trafficking people across the border, but they've also implemented a broader strategy that tackles the wider issue. That's what ultimately tackles this type of problem, not just law enforcement. At the end of the day, smash the gangs was a slogan, not a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that will probably be sticking in the craw of quite a lot of my viewers and listeners here is that, you know, yet again, this is someone who was welcomed into Europe. He's a Turkish national, has been living in Europe for a while, and has then proceeded to set about aiding and abetting the immigration invasion of Europe. And it's like, well, cheers for your hospitality. You know, I think that's one of the things that really winds me up about all of this.
Absolutely. That's the man who's abused the hospitality of, it must be, I think in this instance, it's the European Union where he's been operating rather than the United Kingdom. Yeah. But, you know, yet again, it is someone who's come into Europe, has set up a criminal enterprise, probably related to those he may have been in contact with in Turkey. Remember, there's obviously issues between Turkish state and Kurds. There's certainly been plenty of conflict in that area relating to Kurds wanting to have their own state with Turkey. But that there's been a sort of crucible for gangs that have then looked to bring someone from Kurdistan, particularly the northern part of Iraq, through Europe and via illegal routes, and creating criminal gangs. So yeah, it will stick in people's throats, and hopefully this man will be removed from Belgium at the end of his sentence back to Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking there, actually, I'm weighing up whether or not I would actually quite like us to pursue him and bring him back here and prosecute him here. And I'm thinking, well, it's just another foreign criminal in British jails, isn't it? But anyway, there we go. Kevin, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Kevin Foster, former Immigration Minister. Right, lots on. Big hour coming your way in the next hour. We've got a bit of this.
In relation to security guarantees and the American role and our dialogue with the Americans, I can assure the House I spoke to President Trump twice over the Christmas period in relation to this specific issue.
Well, despite what's gone on today with that oil tanker, it does look very much as though President Trump is sidelining Sir Keir Starmer. You heard him there saying he's not even spoken to him on the phone since Venezuela or anything else that's happened. And report out today says that the President of the United States is apparently very angry with our Prime Minister, and I'll reveal why next. Plus, yet more calls for the top brass of West Midlands Police to go. Why? They caved into the Islamists. I'm going to be analysing where we are with that and all of your papers.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The cold air remains with us, but add into the mix a deepening area of low pressure. We're going to see all sorts of issues by Thursday night and into Friday morning. Now, one low is departing. A weather front is moving into western parts of the UK. This is containing mostly rain because it's a slice of milder Atlantic air. But as it bumps into the cold air, there could be a few flakes of snow across parts of western Scotland, inland and over hills predominantly. Elsewhere, the rain tends to fizzle away as it moves into central parts of the UK, leaving behind a lot of cloud cover. Temperatures overnight dipping generally low single figures or a few degrees below freezing. So still some icy patches, particularly in the east and the north first thing Thursday. And extensive cloud during the morning, some patchy rain and sleet here and there, some further snow coming into Orkney, northeastern parts of Aberdeenshire. But for many, actually, it's a dry start, albeit a grey one with a lot of cloud cover, something a little brighter coming to Northern Ireland, West Wales, into the southwest initially. However, we're already seeing the effects of the next system across Cornwall, western parts of Devon. And this is a developing area of low pressure, named Storm Goretti by the French because of the risk of disruption over northern France from wind. It's likely also to cause impacts across southern parts and central parts of the UK. At first, it'll be rain and wind into the southwest, and for parts of Wales that will be an issue, with the strongest winds expected across Cornwall. Amber warning because of the risk of 80 to 90 mile per hour wind gusts. But as it moves across the country Thursday night and into Friday, it will leave behind some deep snow across parts of Wales, particularly mid Wales, the Midlands up towards the Peak District. Then it clears, but it's going to be cold, wet and windy in the east through the day on Friday. Brighter skies on Saturday, plenty of sunshine. Another low turns up on Sunday.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello from the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland. We're on an amazing Arctic adventure to celebrate our greatest cash giveaway, a simply stunning £85,000. And in 2026, we're giving you the chance to win it all.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m, I'm Patrick Christys, and this happened today. The US seized a ship in European waters with British help, and...
circumstances. You've got a very hot community reception. You've got Maccabi Tel Aviv and the Dutch police saying we feel they actively targeted community members. Those two things together posed a sufficient risk.
Why have all of the top brass of West Midlands Police still got a job? I'm going to analyse some of the times that different police forces have just overtly favoured the Muslim community. And I'm going to ask, why are we doing this? Plus, I've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and just brace yourselves for this. This is an absolutely jaw-dropping breaking news story on the front of the Daily Telegraph. The Met Police hired a black child rapist to boost diversity credentials. Yeah, I'll say that again. The Metropolitan Police Force hired a black man who was a child rapist in order to boost diversity credentials. Just let that sink in. Absolute clown world, isn't it? On my panel tonight, we have got the senior political correspondent at the Daily Express, Christian Cowgie, pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. And this guy is making an astonishing comeback.
What do you say to your victims, Hugh Edwards?
And can you tell me what's going on here? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. President Trump has said he's very angry with Sir Keir Starmer. I'll tell you why next.
Very good evening to you. The top story tonight at 10. The UK Armed Forces have confirmed they helped the United States seize a Russian-flagged oil tanker in what ministers call a major blow to sanctions-busting activity at sea. The Minister of Defence says the US Coast Guard asked for British support with RAF surveillance aircraft and a Royal Navy support ship tracking the tanker as it passed between Iceland and Scotland. Defence Secretary John Healey said the operation was fully compliant with international law, warning the UK will, he says, says not stand by as malign activity increases on the high seas. He also said the ship was part of a shadow fleet used to funnel oil for Russia, Iran and Venezuela. Money the government says helps fund war, instability and terrorism. In other news, Sir Keir Starmer says MPs will be given a vote on whether British troops are to be deployed to Ukraine if a peace deal with Russia is agreed. The Prime Minister says that move would follow recent practice after the UK, France and Ukraine signed a declaration of intent to deploy forces to Ukraine. But the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch said earlier during Prime Minister's questions she's concerned over the scale and risks of any deployment.
No Prime Minister, Labour or Conservative, has failed to make a statement to the House in person after committing to the deployment of British troops. His comments about making a statement in due course, quite frankly, are not good enough. It shows a fundamental lack of respect for all of us here.
Well, Sir Keir Starmer insists Britain must be ready to play its part and told MPs that any deployment would focus on deterrence, protecting key military hubs and preventing further Russian aggression.
If there were to be deployment, there would have to be a legal instrument. Mr. Speaker, deployment would only be after a ceasefire to support Ukraine's capabilities, to conduct deterrent operations and to construct and protect military hubs. Mr. Speaker, there will be a statement to the House at the earliest opportunity. If there were a decision to deploy under the agreement that was signed yesterday, then I would put that matter to this House for a debate beforehand and for a vote on that deployment. That is consistent with recent practice, and I'll adhere to that.
Donald Trump has doubled down on his claim that the United States needs Greenland, refusing to rule out the use of military force to take control of the territory. The US president says annexing the self-governing island is a matter of national security, insisting he's very serious about the plan. But European leaders and Greenland's Prime Minister have pushed back sharply, with former UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace warning that any attack would signal the demise of a large part of NATO. Mr. Trump has long voiced his ambition to bring Greenland under US control. Staying with news in the United States, and a woman has been shot dead tonight by US immigration officers in Minneapolis during a major federal enforcement operation. The Department of Homeland Security says the woman was a violent rioter who tried to run over an officer, claiming the shooting was in self-defense. Well, it's understood that the officer defensively shot to protect himself, but Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has sharply disputed that account and is demanding ICE agents leave the city. Protesters have now gathered at the scene as the mayor urges calm, telling residents to show up with peace. And news back here at home, a migrant has become the first person charged under a new endangerment at sea offence introduced to crack down on dangerous small boat crossings. That charge follows the launch of the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Act, which makes it a crime to put lives at risk during channel crossings, with a sentence possible of up to 6 years in prison. The suspect was arrested after the first small boat crossing of the year, carrying 48 people from northern France. Ministers say the new powers will help disrupt and dismantle people smuggling gangs, as the National Crime Agency has confirmed its former top target has been jailed. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you again at 11.
Good evening. It's official. President Trump thinks that Sir Keir Starmer is a weak man. When asked about Starmer's regime, a senior White House source said they are just weak. Apparently, President Trump is actually very angry with Sir Keir Starmer for not backing him more on Venezuela. Now, what's interesting is that today, this happened. The US seized, well, what was originally, I think, a Venezuelan oil tanker, but it was flying the Russian flag, wasn't it, in European waters, and they used military bases in Britain to do it. Yeah, that tanker was flying the Russian flag and was being escorted by the Russian Navy. So this is obviously a very serious issue. And then these headlines started emerging. British spy planes and vessels helped support the US in capturing that ship, which again is interesting, because today at Prime Minister's Questions, Sir Keir Starmer was asked directly about when he actually last spoke to President Trump.
In relation to security guarantees and the American role and our dialogue with the Americans, I can assure the House I spoke to President Trump twice over the Christmas period in relation to this specific issue.
So what that is, if you actually realise what he's genuinely saying there, is that despite Venezuela, despite Greenland, despite yesterday's meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, and saying that he'll put British boots on the ground in Ukraine, and despite Trump using British military bases to capture a ship off the coast of Britain in conjunction with the British military, President Trump apparently hasn't felt the need to speak directly to our human rights lawyer-in-chief. Now, I don't think Trump respects Starmer. Yesterday, Starmer and other European leaders warned Trump not to go after Greenland. President Trump immediately said, I don't care, we want it, and we might use the military to get it. And then today...
Why is the administration not taking Denmark's offer to discuss the situation in Greenland? And
I'll be meeting with them next week.
But will you take military intervention off the table?
I'm not here to talk about Denmark or military intervention. I'll be meeting with them next week. We'll have those conversations with them then. That's always been the president's intent from the very beginning. He said it very early on. I mean, this is not new. He talked about it in his first term, and he's not the first U.S. president that has examined or looked at how could we acquire Greenland. There's an interest there. But so I just reminded them of the fact that not only did Truman want to do it, but President Trump's been talking about this since his first term.
The Americans said that they will meet Denmark to discuss Greenland next week. Well, the UK and the EU are just being completely ignored, aren't they? I mean, what's worse is that I don't think that Trump trusts Starmer. President Trump didn't consult Britain before bombing Iran, and Trump was furious about this.
The United Kingdom formally recognises the state of Palestine.
The Americans are also very worried about this.
Also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and, by extension, American citizens.
And they are certainly very worried about this.
I was talking with a friend recently, and we were talking about, one of the big dangers in the world, of course, is nuclear proliferation, though, of course, the Biden administration doesn't care about it. And I was talking about, what is the first truly Islamist country that will get a nuclear weapon? And we were like, maybe it's Iran, maybe Pakistan already kind of counts. And then we sort of finally decided maybe it's actually the UK, since Labour just took over.
The problem for Sir Keir Starmer is this. He's a jellyfish. He's trying to be on the side of Gaza and the side of Israel. He sucks up to China. He wants the US to like him. He says he won't reverse Brexit. Then he does everything to take us back into the EU. Now, at some point, Sir Keir Starmer is going to have to decide what he stands for and who he stands with. And I just don't think he's capable of doing that. Let's get thoughts from my panel. Senior political correspondent at the Daily Express, Christian Cowgie, pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Christian, I'll start with you on this. So, it looks a little bit, really, well, it looks a lot, doesn't it? I think, like, Trump doesn't have any time for Keir Starmer at all.
Well, he's got a modicum more time for Keir Starmer than anyone else in the current White House or Republican administration, which has always actually baffled Republicans that I talk to. And I've always thought that if, God forbid, Trump were to pop his clogs tomorrow, the Britain's diplomatic relation with the US would just collapse. I thought today was humiliating at PMQs. I went back and checked the tapes because we have these daily press briefings with Prime Minister's spokesman, and on Monday we were told that Keir Starmer was going to try and speak to Donald Trump after yesterday's Paris summit, and then we heard today at PMQs that all he managed to talk to was a couple of White House staffers. Now, if the UK Prime Minister is only able to talk to Donald Trump's aides, then that suggests to me a humiliating deterioration in our relationship. And, I think to a certain extent we deserve it. I mean, you look at what we did over Maduro. We withdrew intelligence cooperation when Trump was blowing up those drug smuggling boats. It didn't obviously impede America's actions in any way. But I think we've shown ourselves to be a really duplicitous friend at times. And I think the only reason Donald Trump has any time for Keir Starmer is that when it comes to negotiating these trade deals, he knows that he can get whatever he wants because Labour are the worst negotiators we've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm very keen not to do here, right, is to try to talk Britain down. I'm not talking Britain down. We are not a weak country. I don't think that the people watching and listening to this now are weak people. I don't think, people in the studio are necessarily weak people at all. But I do think, and the Americans think, that we have a very weak Labour leader and government, and that ultimately is bad for Britain.
Let's remember, a few years ago, Keir Starmer and basically the whole cabinet slagged Donald Trump off terribly. I mean, there's 3 or 4 videos that I've seen of Keir Starmer saying bad things about Donald Trump. Now, of course, I don't believe Donald Trump likes Keir Starmer at all. I said it on another show on this channel a few days ago. I believe he despises Keir Starmer. But because we're allies and we have to work together, he plays for the cameras and he does what he has to do, the minimum. But I believe he despises him. But look, I do not feel safe as a citizen of this country with Keir Starmer, little Macron and the coalition of the willing, you know, to defend Europe and to defend us. I do feel more safer knowing that we are an ally of the most powerful man in the world. Keir Starmer and this Labour government can't even defend our own borders against third world chancellors in dinghies. That says it all at the end of the day. I'm looking at Donald Trump in awe. They are gaining territory and controlling more territory, and we're giving away our territory and making us, the taxpayer, pay for it. What does that say? I'm sorry, but this is the worst government of my lifetime.
Well, what do you think? Because look, regardless of what Trump may say, we are living in a little period of time now where international events have really blown up.
Well, because of Trump. Because Trump is
Trump
and Putin. Exactly. You've got Putin and you've got Trump. And
yeah, the problem. My point here, Nina, sorry, is that Britain appears to be being marginalised in this now. You've even got things like where Trump is using Britain's bases to go and capture a ship, which, by the way, I'm not particularly. I'm quite intrigued to find out what's on that ship. I think we all are. But to capture that ship and not bothering to call our Prime Minister about it. I mean, we're kind of being
how do you know? And I don't think that Trump has. I don't think Trump has. Contrary to what Adam says, I don't think Trump has any time for people that he really doesn't care for. And it's surprising and astonishing thing is that he does seem to like Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer has been dancing on the head of a pin, but trying to juggle between Europe and the US and trying to and so far I think everybody has agreed, apart from probably Adam, is that he's done very well on the foreign stage.
But the thing is, the ships are down now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we see people's true colours, and Trump is ignoring it.
He is not ignoring him. I do not think he is ignoring him. When Trump invaded Venezuela to decapitate the government, as it were, that has nothing to do with the UK. Why should he ask Britain's permission or ask him for help? It's South America. It's not our part of the sphere. It is nothing. We are not that as a nation that important. What difference does Venezuela make to our country? Nothing. Well, how could we assist?
I think we are important. See,
that's where you're wrong. That's where you're wrong.
I think we talk ourselves down.
We're not talking. I'm not
talking. We talk our history down.
No.
We talk our history down. We talk our capability down. We've hollowed out our armed forces.
We are no longer
about things that don't matter. And now here we are.
We no longer have an empire. They are not pink bits on the map, and we've got to get that out of our heads. And during the whole post-Brexit Boris shenanigans, our standing in the world went down so far. Keir Starmer has brought that back up again.
That is an astonishing claim. Keir Starmer has brought that back up again.
Yes, he has. He has, by being around the world and talking to people and making sure that they know that Britain is not in the hands of...
By giving away our own territory and making their own people pay for the privilege.
The whole thing about the Chagos Islands is done because of America. You understand that, because of the American base there. Do you understand? No, the thing was with international law, we didn't. That was going to be up to question. Now we do have power over it, but it's all down to America because of the American base. It's complicated.
We are in a moment now, I think, where we are. Well, Keir Starmer is very much being asked to pick a side. Right now, he might not want to, and he doesn't want to, and you can see that over the decisions that he's made over other things, flip-flopping on the EU, flip-flopping over Gaza and Israel, all of this stuff, right? But now he's being told to pick a side. And I just don't think he's got that in him. You know, how can he marry up his human rights lawyer mindset with what I think is ultimately right for Britain, which is to align yourself with the least bad strongman in this case, which is Trump, obviously, which will probably upset the European Union. I just think he's just the wrong man for the job here.
I think, look, Downing Street has always tried straddling that gap between America and Europe. We've always thought of ourselves as playing that role. But that was easier in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s when we were still a major power, world player economy. Now it does feel more like we have to pick a side, and I don't think Keir Starmer is psychologically capable of picking America over Europe, even though, and Ed Davey called for this at PMQs today, and I just thought it was absurd. You know, Europe is so irrelevant economically, defence, foreign policy.
America, the Minister of War. Europe, the coalition of the willing.
It's embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. It is not embarrassing.
We have no influence over what is going to happen in Ukraine.
No, we can't.
At all.
Because that's down to Putin and Trump. I agree. And so
stop pretending that we have influence and calling yourself the coalition of the willing. It is pure
Well, it's the coalition of the willing, not the coalition of the capable.
Because we have to defend ourselves. We have to defend you. Well, how else? We
can't without America.
See what? So in the course of this, and it's a very chaotic, fast-moving picture in terms of all of what's going on around Venezuelan oil tankers and Russia and Greenland and everything. Iran, of course, yes, well remembered. But I think Christy's hit on a good point here, OK? Should we choose Europe or Trump? Because it's looking as though there is an increased separation. So I'm keen to know what the viewers and listeners think about this. Christian, who would you go for there? Would you rather ally yourself with the members of the European Union or with the American administration?
Well, obviously, I go America on both security and economic grounds. I mean, Europe is grinding to a halt. It barely has an economy to speak of. It's essentially like, you know, Harry Potter world at this point, or a sort of, you know, a UNESCO World Heritage site. It's got no growth. It can't defend itself. And actually, the key point about Venezuela and the whole, like, does it show the breakdown of the global order that we've had? Europe created this rules-based order and then got rid of its method of enforcing it and rode on Americans' coattails. And it's only now that America has a slightly different path to us ideologically that we've realised that.
America or Europe?
It will be the worst decision we ever make if we go with the EU leaders, the coalition of the willing, over Trump. Trump is changing the whole political sphere around the world. He's the most powerful man in the world. We need to align with him. They're our oldest allies. Forget the EU.
Power does not equal right, and I would still play one side against the other. That's the smart thing to do.
Right. Oh, so you wouldn't pick a side, basically?
No, I would not pick a side.
So you would annoy both sides. Brilliant.
Absolutely fine.
Brilliant.
Absolutely fine. And it doesn't have to be annoy. That's just a personal jibe on your part.
You try to straddle that. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. I mean, this is the way it's looking like it's going. Let's see what tomorrow brings, you know? I mean, it's, every single time you turn on the telly at the moment, something else has popped off somewhere in the world, hasn't it? So it could be anything. But anyway, it is time now, though, to take your mind off it. For the Great British Giveaway, yes, absolutely. It's your chance to win £85,000. Here's how you can be in it to win it.
It's a brand new year, and we're giving you the chance to win our biggest cash prize to date. £85,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year the best yet. And we've come to the Aurora Collection Resort here in Lapland to celebrate. Imagine what the coming year could look like for you with a whopping £85,000 in the bank. You can have the complete Lapland experience all in one place by visiting the Northern Lights Village. Or just safe in the knowledge that this year is on us. An incredible £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours.
For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, welcome back. I've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages shortly, and this is just absolutely insane, jaw-dropping breaking news. On the front of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph, get this. The Metropolitan Police hired a black child rapist to boost diversity credentials. What a ridiculous thing that is. We've got all the details on that, but that is just a story of modern times, isn't it? In what is a massive shift in tone, what's going on here? Oh, we'll just do another gear change now, because before he caved into the Islamists when he was banned Israeli football fans from a Europa League match. So why has the Chief of West Midlands Police not resigned yet? That's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Sir Jacob Rees-Mogg's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday from 8 p.m.
What I've discovered is that a comet that was observed by the Chinese in 5 BC, I put together the information from their observation to come up with an orbit that would take this particular comet very, very close to the Earth. And as it passed the Earth, probably about the distance to the moon, a position on the rotating Earth would have seen the comet pause for a period of hours over a location. We have the same thing now with the geosynchronous satellite. If you stand at the equator, there are geosynchronous satellites that stay over your head 24/7. This comet was so close to the Earth that it would have had the brightness of like a first quarter or full moon. So it would have been clearly visible in the daylight.
So it would have been easier for them to follow. And how quickly would they have had to have travelled? Could they have travelled fast enough to keep up with it?
Well, it would have been a direction. So it turns out it takes 2 or 3 hours to walk from Jerusalem to Bethlehem. It's a relatively short distance. And that's the period of time where it behaved like this for those few hours. So there was the time available. Now, of course, their trip from the east, it would have taken many weeks. And the Chinese said the comet was visible in the constellation Capricorn for more than 70 days. And it's that appearance in one constellation for an extended period. Pilots know this. If you see an object in the sky while you're flying a plane, and it's not moving left, right, or up, down, it's actually on a collision course, or nearly so, with you. So the comet was heading more or less directly towards the Earth until, at least in my theory, they arrived in Jerusalem and walked that distance from Jerusalem to Bethlehem.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
OK, well, welcome back. Now, what you're looking at there is tomorrow's Daily Telegraph front page. And what you'll see is a headline that says, Met Police hired a black child rapist to boost diversity credentials. The Metropolitan Police hired officers who failed background checks to boost diversity, including a man accused of raping a child. More than 100 applicants who initially failed vetting procedures were later allowed to join after their cases were referred to a special panel set up to scrutinise rejected applications from ethnic minority candidates and help the force meet diversity targets. We will have a lot more detail on that for you, but that is utterly jaw-dropping, that story, isn't it, really? And it just makes you think, should we not just scrap every single DEI scheme that there is, really? What's the point? But anyway, first, Kemi Badenoch has called for the head of West Midlands Police to be sacked, accusing him of capitulating to Islamists with his decision to ban Israeli football fans from an Aston Villa match last year. Chief Constable Craig Guildford was hauled before MPs yesterday amid accusations that his force falsified evidence in order to justify that ban. Documents published yesterday also revealed that officers were warned before the match that locals in the largely Muslim community were planning to arm themselves if Maccabi fans attended. They, of course, did not tell us that at the time, did they? It's certainly not the first time, though, that police have been accused of giving Muslim communities special preferential treatment. Last October, the Met Police in London banned a demonstration by UKIP in Tower Hamlets because of the area's large Muslim population. But they were very happy to let this pro-Palestine protest go ahead in the days after the Manchester synagogue attack. And don't forget the autistic child who damaged a copy of the Quran at a school in Yorkshire back in 2020, who then, of course, received death threats from another child. The police met with Muslim community leaders and elders. It's all... How many elders are there? I mean, how old are all these people anyway? They met with the community elders to address concerns and reassure the family, and the community, sorry, and the mum of that child had to go to the mosque, surrounded by police and elders, and apologise to the local community. It's utterly farcical. Batley Grammar School, you could go on and on. I'm joined now by the former Police and Crime Commissioner for Thames Valley. It's Anthony Stansfield. Anthony, thank you very much. Great to have you on the show. Why are so many police forces giving preferential treatment to the Muslim community?
By a total lack of leadership and judgment by their senior teams, notably their chief constables. And it went wrong, I think, from really about 2014, when the police were cut very considerably and very good redundancy given. And all the really good middle ranks left, the people who should be leading the police today, and we left the dross. And they seem to be running the police today. I mean, it goes on and on. And the turnover of chief constables is quite extraordinary at the moment.
But do you think that police are afraid of seeming Islamophobic? Do you think that they've been pumped full of so much diversity nonsense that they genuinely believe that their main focus in life is to find out what's being said at the local mosque and then do that thing? Or do you think they're afraid of Islamist terrorism?
I think the former. I think the College of Policing, I think, puts out a very dangerous message when it takes people through its leadership courses. And we seem to cave in completely to the extent of being totally anti-Semitic. I mean, the behaviour towards the Jews, cancelling them from turning up to a match because they were worried about the Muslims, is really unacceptable in this country.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I mean, the other thing that will be at the tip of a lot of my viewers and listeners' tongues right now is that we are going to get something resembling a national inquiry into the grooming gang scandal. And, you know, we are being asked to trust these same police forces and authority figures who have been, I mean, I'll just say it, I mean, it's not just my view, of course, but in my view, have lied about what we're seeing here in Birmingham when it came to the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, and certainly kept information for us. We are now supposed to be trusting them to get to the bottom of revealing the truth about the Pakistani rape gang scandal. I mean, it's not going to happen, is it?
No, of course it's not. I mean, it'll be a thoroughly biased judgment from the word go, I think, the way they do it. They're determined to come down sort of in the middle and not make a judgment at all, usually, on these inquiries. And they can be dragged on forever. But something has gone very badly wrong with policing over the last few years.
OK, so we've identified the problem, we've pointed about it, I've ranted about it at length previously. So how do we sort this out? What has to happen now, then? How can we make sure this doesn't happen again? How do we root out this ideology that, it appears, to me anyway, that for a lot of police forces in this country, their first priority is to make sure that they keep the Muslim community happy? How do we stop that?
Well, I think it's a matter of leadership, and there are far too many police forces for a start. We've got, 43 or something. Most of them are very small. They have very large leadership teams. They cost a fortune to run, and we police them with very bad officers at the senior levels, I think, at the moment. And it really needs sorting out. I would reduce the police to 12 police forces, much larger ones, about the size of Thames Valley, the one I used to be the Police and Crime Commissioner of. And I would set up a separate ones to deal with serious, very organised crime and also with fraud, which is by far the most expensive problem in this country. And then we have 1 or 2 specialist police forces looking after our nuclear facilities and railways and things like that. But the present 43 police forces that are all being badly led simply doesn't work.
Yeah, and sorry, very quickly, very finally, in your view, does the top brass here of West Midlands Police have to go? I mean, I'm about to read out a statement from the Chief Constable Craig Guilford here, but I mean, we all know by now he doesn't seem to be wanting to go anywhere. So, I mean, should he go?
Yes, I mean, if what you read in the papers and everything is true, of course he should go. And the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, has said he should go. And from all the evidence that I've seen, he should certainly go. And not just him, most of his senior team should go with him too. And ideally, West Midlands should be combined with one of the other neighbouring forces and run properly.
All right, look, thank you very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you. Just Anthony Stansfield there, who is the former Police and Crime Commissioner for Thames Valley. So, yeah, Chief Constable Craig Guilford said that he stood by the accuracy of intelligence after a letter from Dutch police appeared to contradict claims police made about Maccabi fans, which was used to justify the ban. In a previous statement, the police force said a huge amount of planning went into the operation with the aim of preventing crime and disorder and disruption into the game and keeping everyone safe. The operation achieved its aims of keeping everyone in attendance safe, and this is down to the hard work of all of the officers and staff from West Midlands Police and other forces around the country. Sorry, can I play this? Yes, I can. Right, sorry, just to remind ourselves, this is that time that the mother of the autistic child who accidentally scuffed a copy of the Quran whilst at school was hauled before a mosque full of community elders, and the police attended, and she had to apologise. Here it is.
Thank you so much for letting me come here today to speak to you. I know that what my son has done is disrespectful. He didn't have any malicious intent, but he's a very, very silly 14-year-old boy who does have some challenges. He does suffer with high-functioning autism. It means that socially he doesn't always realise what is appropriate and what's not appropriate.
Yeah, and just off camera, the police are there. Right, brilliant. OK, yeah, just go down the mosque. I mean, he's accidentally scuffed a copy of the Quran, and it's got ridiculous. How have we ended up in this situation? How weak are some of these police forces? But anyway, coming up, I've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and actually, it turns out there's a bit of a police theme here because Met Police, this is breaking on the front of the Telegraph, hired a black man who was a child rapist, apparently, to boost their diversity credentials. All of that next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst we've seen the cold weather affect the UK and much of Western Europe, it's turning less cold in Iberia now, whilst it's increasingly unsettled across southeastern parts of Europe, especially Greece and Turkey, where we'll see strong winds and heavy rain moving through during Thursday and Friday. Italy's on the cold side, temperatures a few degrees below average. Meanwhile, temperatures have now recovered for Spain and Portugal, back up to the double figures or the teens in places.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The cold air remains with us, but add into the mix a deepening area of low pressure. We're going to see all sorts of issues by Thursday night and into Friday morning. Now, one low is departing. A weather front is moving into western parts of the UK. This is containing mostly rain because it's a slice of milder Atlantic air. But as it bumps into the cold air, there could be a few flakes of snow across parts of western Scotland, inland and over hills predominantly. Elsewhere, the rain tends to fizzle away as it moves into central parts of the UK, leaving behind a lot of cloud cover. Temperatures overnight dipping generally low single figures or a few degrees below freezing. So still some icy patches, particularly in the east and the north first thing Thursday. And extensive cloud during the morning, some patchy rain and sleet here and there, some further snow coming into Orkney, northeastern parts of Aberdeenshire. But for many, actually, it's a dry start, albeit a grey one with a lot of cloud cover, something a little brighter coming to Northern Ireland, West Wales, into the southwest initially. However, we're already seeing the effects of the next system across Cornwall, western parts of Devon. And this is a developing area of low pressure, named Storm Goretti by the French because of the risk of disruption over northern France from wind. It's likely also to cause impacts across southern parts and central parts of the UK. At first, it'll be rain and wind into the southwest, and for parts of Wales that will be an issue, with the strongest winds expected across Cornwall. Amber warning because of the risk of 80 to 90 mile-per-hour wind gusts. But as it moves across the country Thursday night and into Friday, it will leave behind some deep snow across parts of Wales, particularly mid-Wales, the Midlands up towards the Peak District. Then it clears, but it's going to be cold, wet and windy in the east through the day on Friday. Brighter skies on Saturday, plenty of sunshine. Another low turns up on Sunday.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
OK, welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. So we're going to give you the very first look at tomorrow's newspaper front pages, starting with the Metro. And they go with splash and grab. Trump seizes tankers in new show of force. That's what happened off the coast, of course, earlier on. The iPaper, UK ready to seize more of Putin's shadow ships as grey war grows. Britain is preparing to help capture vessels in Russia's shadow fleet. Yeah, I am desperate to find out what was on the ship. But anyway.
There's nothing.
Well,
Russia said there was nothing, which is why they sent 2 submarines, ships, everything else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effort for an empty vessel.
For nothing.
For nothing.
Yeah, very odd. Anyway, we'll find out, won't we? Now, the next paper, get ready for this. Are you? The Sun. Look who's Hugh. Yes. So, a TV drama is going to be done about the Sun's investigation into Hugh Edwards. Telly favourite Martin Clunes is going to play the disgraced BBC newsreader and paedophile Hugh Edwards in a new 2-part drama on Channel 5. Clunes has gone full Edwards.
It's a great likeness.
Do you think he's had his ears pinned back?
Yes, obviously.
It's a very good likeness. I think, do we need it? It's the more pressing question.
I just want to know, how are they going to portray Hugh? Is it going to be this poor bloke who wrestled for years with his sexuality, or is it going to be like, actually, you're a paedophile?
Will they reinvent the picture where he's looking back? Do you remember that?
Well, that one.
You know.
Who knows? Anyway, moving on. I've got here the Daily Mail. You need to be on fat jabs for life. Oxford study shows patients coming off the drugs pile the pounds back on within 2 years. Yeah, but 1 or 2 years? 1 or 2 years, you know? I'd take that. But anyway, right, on a much more serious note, this is the story and the paper that we're going to be focusing on now, the Daily Telegraph. The story that we're zoning in on is towards the bottom of your screens there, and it's Met Police hired a black child rapist to boost diversity credentials. I'm just going to read you most of this, right? More than 100 applicants who initially failed vetting procedures were later allowed to join the Metropolitan Police Force after their cases were referred to a special panel set up to scrutinise rejected applications specifically from ethnic minority candidates and help the force hit diversity targets. This includes Police Constable Cliff Mitchell, who was recruited despite having been accused of raping a child. His application was initially rejected, but his decision was overturned. He was later convicted of 13 counts of rape, including 6 against a child. And he was amongst 25 officers given a second chance who went on to commit criminal offences or misconduct. Right. So, well done to the Diversity Brigade. Calgie, you've got your head in your hands here.
It is one of those stories that leaves you speechless, and I was just trying to see if the full article's online, if there's anything to, you know, give the Met an excuse. And I don't think there is. In fact, there's a quote from the Assistant Commissioner right at the end of this piece that says, "We are being open and transparent about past vetting and recruitment practices that led in some cases to unsuitable people joining the Met. We have been honest with Londoners about previous shortcomings." I mean, to describe this as a shortcoming is disgraceful. And, I mean...
It's really shocking,
to come
actually.
in the same week as what's been going on in the West Met, I just think our police are screwed and rotten from top to bottom.
Yes, but you say this,
is I think that needs to be aimed more at the top brass, right? I think your rank and file police officer, you're probably on the beat and all that. I think a lot of them are being asked to go out onto the streets very often with one arm metaphorically tied behind their back because they're getting all this guff from above.
You cannot blame this on Keir Starmer because between 2013 and 2023, 5,000 estimated officers and staff were recruited without undergoing the necessary vetting, and they're saying another 17,000 may have joined without their references being checked. So that's under your mob. That's under your mob.
Right. Well, I mean, again, yeah, you're right.
Right.
But also, yes, it was absolutely, it happened under the Tory government, but it also, I think, happened as a result of all the equality legislation that has been passed that made it, I think the Met have said there was a lot of pressure on them to boost diversity. Now, obviously, they've gone about it in the most grotesque, appalling, amoral way, but they're right to say that there was pressure coming from legislation, from government, from equality chiefs, to artificially boost diversity, which I don't think it needed.
But look, let's just think about it. So there's a couple of massive police stories in the last couple of days, right? So West Midlands Police Force hid from us that there were Muslim gangs who were arming themselves, who were going to go and attack Jewish fans. They also are accused, especially by the Dutch police, actually, of lying about the information that they were given by the Dutch police and just concocting this situation, fabricating evidence, all of that stuff. Just really, really bad. So they're also accused of lying to MPs because it's the second time they've been in the Home Affairs Select Committee. It's the same police force that in 2010 did an investigation into the Pakistani rape gangs and hid the truth from us because they didn't want to stoke racial tensions, OK? And now you've got the Metropolitan Police who've done a diversity drive and in amongst that have hired a black man who happens to have been now be a convicted child rapist. You say, how much longer do we have to put up with this ridiculous multicultural diversity stuff? Can't you just employ people on merit?
Exactly that. I would love to sit in a room and ask Sadiq Khan what he thinks about this story. I really would.
Well, but the thing is that the directive and the push and the drive for diversity came from an order from Cressida Dick. Khan got rid of Cressida Dick, so that is something. I mean, I'm not a great Khan fan, but that's something good he did.
Right, but look, this country and the police, we are losing our minds, common sense and standards, just to tick a box. Oh, let's hire a black person there because it's a box tick. Let's hire an Asian person there because it's a box ticked. And what is happening is standards are just falling. This whole country
I just think as well now, like if you are a member of an ethnic minority and you are in a police force or something like that, and colleagues read a story like this, are they going to be thinking that you were hired on some kind of diversity hire? Are they going to be thinking that actually you were maybe rejected first time round and that they've hired you again and that they might have not even vetted you properly? I don't see who any winners are here. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's good for people who are ethnic minorities. I think it maybe makes people look at them twice and think, oh, are you here on merit or are you not? And then I think as well, it's not good for us, is it? Because we ended up with some people like this lunatic.
But the other things I'd like to point out is that two people who slipped through the net were Wayne Couzens and David Carrick.
Absolutely.
And they are not black, so you can't just say it's to do with diversity. It's not just to do with diversity.
That was your straightforward negligence. Yeah, there was no diversity in that negligence this time, no.
No, we've just got to remember, Patrick, we are an 84% white country. There is nothing wrong with having the majority of your police officers being white. There's nothing wrong in that. No other country would demonise themselves. Would Nigeria demonise themselves, you know, for not having white people in their police? No. Would Chinese?
I think
Why do we demonise ourselves over race?
I think the thinking is that in areas, in cities that are predominantly of a different culture or a different race...
Many of those cultures do not want to be police officers. You can't force them.
No, but I'm going to say that it would be better for them, better for police relations and community relations, if they could see people that were like them, that were in a position of the law.
Well, there we go. I mean, Christian read out a bit of their comment earlier on there, but they've said we are open about being transparent about past vetting recruitment practices that led to, in some cases, unsuitable people joining the Met. So you could say that again. Anyway, we'll leave that there for now, because coming up, I am going to finally reveal what is going on here.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Nana Akweer, weekends from 3 p.m.
Relationships, you do have to set your boundaries, which means know what is acceptable behaviour for you and don't tolerate anything else. And actually, my book, Screw You, Watch This, is called Screw You, Watch This. I thought you'd like the title.
I do like that.
It's quite punchy, but it's not screw you to your ex, it's screw you to the fear and being held back and the loneliness and your old story about what you accepted. And Watch This is... right, I'm going to step up, I'm going to take my power back, and let's move on to the new chapter. And it kind of is my motto, and has been for many years. And I have a training school where I train people to become coaches, and that's our motto in the school, because it kind of lights a bit of a fire in your belly. Screw you, watch this.
I think I've had that motto for a long time. And I can go from 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds, maybe 1, actually. So have you found new love?
Not at the moment, Nana, so I'm going to be looking to you for some recommendations.
I'm really fussy. So, very good book. I'm looking forward to reading it. Just a reminder, you said you've got free stuff on the website for people to go to, so what's the web address?
Yeah, so it's saradavison.com, and if anyone is struggling right now with a toxic or any kind of divorce, we have free online support groups every week, 3 hours, run by my accredited coaches that I've trained myself, and you can go on and get your questions answered and just give us a bit of support to people who need it.
OK, and very quickly, first start for somebody who's listening and watching and thinking, all right, I want to divorce my partner. What's the first thing they need to be doing?
Get your ducks in a line. Don't rush into something. First of all, if you can save the marriage and work at it, try that. If you know it's done, then look at getting your breakups team around you. So, yeah, a good friend you can confide in, a good legal advisor, financial advisor. Get the people around you who can answer the questions that keep you awake at night. It's a great way to dial down the negative emotions and start to feel a bit more in control.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
OK, welcome back. So let's give you the last two newspaper front pages of the day. The US seizes Russian flag tanker in high-stakes Atlantic operation. That's The Guardian. They've also got this story, though. Again, we've been talking about it. Serial rapist kept Met jobs after vetting failure, conveniently ignoring in their headline about the diversity aspect of this. The Times now, though, they go crime spree of Met police let through on diversity. But their main story is UK joins in the pursuit of Putin's shadow fleet. So, OK, so, I mean, this does appear to be the angle that's going to knock this story on, which is that we are identifying ships that Putin is basically using, for want of a better phrase, under the radar, and we're going to attack them, which is a big escalation.
It is, yeah. I mean, we've known about this shadow fleet for ages, and we, Europe, Britain, we've been sanctioning them as best we can for a very long time. But so far, it's mainly been Ukraine that have been left to actually blow them up and take them.
And now it's going to be us.
And now it's going to be us, and that is clearly a very, very significant escalation against Russia.
All right. Well, look, we have obviously got the newspaper show after this, in which we will go into a lot more detail about this potential quite serious escalation. But I wanted to tell you about this story. 50 runaway sheep rampaged through a German supermarket in rural Bavaria, causing absolute mayhem. Check this out.
Yes, es können Sie Benny mal klein.
Ja.
No. Ey, die sind nicht sauer. Ja, jetzt krieg ich ihn rein.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Woolworths? Hey? No? Nothing from anyone at home. Nothing. Woolworths, you get it? Say it again? No, anyway, OK. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd bring you that, just mainly because I thought the clip was funny, but it turns out maybe I'm in the minority here.
No, I think we should Ofcom you for some of those puns.
Well, don't, because they'll find other stuff. Right, OK, anyway, all right. Well, there we go. That's about it for today. We have got a lot more to go through in the next show, though. So, some very, very serious stories indeed. Of course, we're going to be delving into more detail about this absolute crime wave committed by people that the Metropolitan Police hired to fill their diversity quotas, which is just nuts, isn't it? And what does this really mean now? The UK is going to be pursuing Putin's shadow fleet. So are British forces going to be boarding vessels, blowing them up, capturing them, all that, and they might even have Russians on? Are we hurtling towards World War III here? Next.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. The cold air remains with us, but add into the mix a deepening area of low pressure. We're going to see all sorts of issues by Thursday night and into Friday morning. Now, one low is departing. A weather front is moving into western parts of the UK. This is containing mostly rain because it's a slice of milder Atlantic air. But as it bumps into the cold air, there could be a few flakes of snow across parts of western Scotland, inland and over hills predominantly. Elsewhere, the rain tends to fizzle away as it moves into central parts of the UK, leaving behind a lot of cloud cover, temperatures overnight dipping generally low single figures or a few degrees below freezing. So still some icy patches, particularly in the east and the north first thing Thursday, and extensive cloud during the morning, some patchy rain and sleet here and there, some further snow coming into Orkney, northeastern parts of Aberdeenshire. But for many, actually, it's a dry start, albeit a grey one with a lot of cloud cover, something a little brighter coming to Northern Ireland, West Wales, into the southwest initially. However, we're already seeing the effects of the next system across Cornwall, western parts of Devon. And this is a developing area of low pressure, named Storm Goretti by the French because of the risk of disruption over northern France from wind. It's likely also to cause impacts across southern parts and central parts of the UK. At first, it'll be rain and wind into the southwest and for parts of Wales that will be an issue, with the strongest winds expected across Cornwall. Amber warning because of the risk of 80 to 90 mile-per-hour wind gusts. But as it moves across the country Thursday night and into Friday, it will leave behind some deep snow across parts of Wales, particularly mid-Wales, the Midlands up towards the Peak District. Then it clears, but it's going to be cold, wet and windy in the east through the day on Friday. Brighter skies on Saturday, plenty of sunshine. Another low turns up on Sunday.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.